I don't know if you guys saw this story the other day. I'm going to do that thing where I put the headline up here. I saw this on one of my friend's Facebook pages, and I had to click on it. It's one of those things that absolutely blows my mind. So the story behind this is there was a sergeant in Durham, North Carolina. He was called into a scene as a hostage negotiator. The scene that he was called in to negotiate was a man who had barricaded himself in his bedroom, or in a bedroom of his apartment, had a firearm and was threatening to kill himself. This is not a completely uncommon situation for the police to get called on, and it's also not uncommon to call negotiators, and if negotiators are there, that means that the SWAT team is probably also there. So the goal of the negotiator is to negotiate. Try to get this guy to surrender peacefully. And this is a very dangerous situation, to say the least. This is one of those situations where police officers are often criticized because it seems a bit ironic. They show up on a call about a suicidal person with a gun. They find a suicidal person with a gun, and then the media will leave out everything in the middle and say they shot the suicidal person with a gun. So in order to prevent him from killing himself, the officers showed up and killed him themselves. I appreciate the game that is being played with that kind of stuff, even though we know it's not true. What generally happens in those situations where it goes bad and the officers end up shooting the person is they can't quite bring themselves to pull the trigger themselves, because it's I don't know, suicide's a very hard thing. And what they do is they put the officers in a position where they're forced to do it for you. We call this suicide by cop. We've seen it many times where they'll run out and they'll point a gun at the officers, or they'll flinch, do certain things to make the officers use their weapons in that situation. So this sergeant was called in to negotiate, and negotiate is what he did. The guy was barricaded in his bedroom and said, "Hey, I want to smoke this weed before I get taken away. Can I do that?" And it says in the article that this negotiator did not want the guy to be intoxicated and still in possession of a firearm. So he told him, "Hey, you know what? If you agree to put your gun down, come out and surrender peacefully, I will let you smoke your weed." And that is what he did. After they came to that agreement, the guy puts his guns down, put himself in handcuffs, and then said, "Hey, can I have my pack of cigarettes over there?" The sergeant handed him his pack of cigarettes. He pulled the lighter out of the cigarettes, pulled his blunt out from behind his ear, lit the blunt, and in the article it says that he was allowed to smoke about half of it. A few months later, this sergeant was terminated, and he is now suing for his job back. This is one of those stories that, I don't know, there's so many things to this story. Is this the ultimate sign that these administrative police folks, these chiefs, assistant chiefs, deputy chiefs, commanders, captains, whatever you have them, is this the ultimate sign that they have completely lost touch with our society and with what it is that officers are doing on the ground in order to ensure safety of their community? The sergeant in this case did the community a tremendous service. He peacefully ended an armed standoff with it was potentially a very dangerous situation, either for the officers that were there on scene and for the man. I'm willing to bet that this man credits the sergeant with saving his life that day. And the sergeant was fired, I'm assuming, under the grounds of allowing somebody to, use an illegal drug in front of him. I don't know if they fired him for dereliction of duty. I didn't actually see that part. But the sad thing is that he's now having to appeal to the state Supreme Court of North Carolina because of this. My best guess is that the department is on legal grounds. They have legal standing in this case. Some kind of, dereliction of duty case, something like that, for allowing this guy to use an illegal drug. but it's one of those things that he shouldn't have been fired in the first place. And you know, I talked to my friend over at Poorly Made Police Memes about this. We text about this all the time when we're talking about different officer involved shootings. I think this falls into that same kind of category where it's just because you can doesn't mean you should. I think that plays a part in a lot of uses of force by officers. It also plays a part in firing of this police sergeant by this police department. Just because they can doesn't mean they should have fired him. Just because they have legal standing doesn't mean it's right. Think about all of the other instances over the last couple years where police officers have basically been ordered to allow criminal activity to continue in order to help keep the peace. Think about all the times that the Black Lives Matter rioters have blocked roadways, blocked off intersections, and had little car rallies where they're out there doing burnouts and stuff in their Dodge Chargers. I don't know. This is just one of those ridiculous things. I hope for the best for this sergeant. I hope he was at retirement age or had retirement years so that he can he's okay financially. I would hate to see something like this completely wreck somebody for the rest of their life, because all he did was let somebody smoke a little bit of weed. And anybody that spent any amount of time on the street at all knows that you can't walk 2 blocks in any one of these neighborhoods without picking up a scent of weed, because everybody out there is smoking weed. It's not the end of the world. It's not something that you fire a good officer for. So those are my thoughts for today. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon.